Let's speak now with TRT World Defense Analyst Oubai Shahbandar, who joins me in the studio. First of all, Oubai, just how pervasive is the use of chemical weapons in Syria?
Well, the Assad regime, once again, is using chemical weapons that are banned by the international community. In eastern Ghouta, this time, 20 civilians were severely injured by the use of chlorine gas, or is suspected to be chlorine gas. Most of those affected and injured have been children. Time and time again, the Assad regime has used multiple chemical weapon attacks in the eastern Ghouta area that's held by rebel forces. The Assad regime has been frustrated in its attempts to recapture these areas that have fallen under the control of rebel forces. We do know that in 2013, this is the same location that the Assad regime used sarin gas rockets that killed over 1,500 civilians, many of whom were also women and children. And yet again, we are seeing the Assad regime continue to use these horrific weapons that are killing, that can kill in mass. And it doesn't seem that the international community or the Russians, who are supposed to be the guarantors to stop the Assad regime from such attacks, from stopping them from happening.
But I mean, tell us exactly where you're getting this information from, because this is exactly what Russia disputes. It says that these are fake reports, that the investigations have been biased against Russia, and they're coming up with false information.
Well, while it was interestingly enough why the Russians claim that these reports that the Assad regime is using chemical weapons, both currently and in the past, it has actually vetoed on 2 occasions attempts by the United Nations to send international inspectors in the field in Syria to inspect these areas where the chemical weapons have been used. And yet also the Assad regime has stopped the international inspectors from going into suspected production sites where the Assad regime is suspected to be continue to produce sarin gas. Now, in 2013, the Russians signed an agreement with the United Nations and with the U.S. to force Assad to give his entire stockpile of chemical weapons up to the international inspectors and to destroy all his sarin gas and chlorine gas. Clearly, the Assad regime has not done so. Our sources on the ground we're seeing some horrific footage from rebel sources, from civilian activists in eastern Ghouta. We do know it was just in April where the Assad regime also used extremely deadly chemical weapons in Khan Sheikhoun in Idlib province. So it seems that the Russians are pushing back against accusations that they are not doing enough to prevent their ally, the Assad regime, from continuing to use these horrific weapons on civilians.
Oh, okay. I'm being told, actually, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, Oubai. Thanks for that.